So we have all been there, whether it is wondering about how best to split the check or how to talk to family and friends about money situations. Money etiquette affects every single one of us. Most of us probably believe that we know how to behave when it comes to money or financial etiquette, but the truth is that sometimes we all make mistakes in terms of the proper way to behave with money. Have you ever felt awkward when friends ask you to borrow them money or when you have to lend money? Share in the comments. We're going to talk about that in this video. Hey everyone, my name is Bola Shokumbi. I'm the founder and CEO of Clever Girl Finance. I'm also the author of the Clever Girl Finance book series and my latest book, Choosing to Prosper. Welcome to Clever Girl Finance TV. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about money etiquette, also known as financial etiquette, and how to navigate different scenarios. Let's dive in. So the first thing is, what is money etiquette? And money etiquette is essentially the proper and polite behavior when it comes to dealing with money and other people. Obviously, different societies and cultures have their own different approaches to money, but money etiquette is something that we should all be aware of so that we can navigate uncomfortable or sometimes difficult situations when they present themselves. So let's go over some examples of scenarios and ideas for how to navigate them when it comes to the right money etiquette. Scenario number one, splitting the bill when you go out or when you go on a group vacation. So when it comes to any situation where you have to share the costs, communication is essential. This way, everybody understands and is fully aware of how the bills are going to be paid. So for example, you may go out to eat and decide that you want to split the bill equally, or perhaps people need to just pay for what they ate. You really need to ensure that you communicate that. And in the event that you go out and you happen to be the one that's making the payment for the bill and people need to pay you back, you also want to communicate that in advance so that people know that they need to send you the money, preferably before they leave the event, right? And you can give them options of tools to use to send the money, whether it's PayPal, Venmo, Cash App. But again, communication is key. So you basically say, hey everyone, we're going to be splitting the bill equally before you go out to dinner, or hey everyone, it's going to be that everybody pays for what they eat and that's what we're going to do today. But you want to communicate that so that there's no conflict, confusion, or drama before, during, and after your outing. The same money etiquette also applies to when you go on a group vacation with friends or family, especially when it comes to things like sharing the cost of hotel rooms. If you're sharing a room service, activities, going out, you want to clearly communicate or ask the questions about how the bills are going to be paid. It can be awkward to have these conversations, but trust me, it is even more uncomfortable if it becomes a big deal. So again, I keep reiterating this when it comes to splitting bills, going on vacation with friends, family, you need to communicate exactly how the bills are going to be paid or ask so you understand exactly how the bills are going to be split and paid. Scenario number two, tipping for a service rendered. So when you go out to eat or you get a service rendered to you, sometimes it might be confusing as to what is the exact amount or what is the right amount you need to tip. A good rule of thumb is to tip 15 to 20% of the bill, but it depends on the service that was rendered. And one thing to keep in mind is that a lot of restaurants will already build in gratuity, especially when you have parties of 6 or more people. So when you go out to eat as a group, you want to pay attention to that on your bill so that you know whether or not that tip is built into your bill. Another thing to keep in mind is that some people think that they don't have to tip or they shouldn't tip during high inflation or during recessions. However, this culture, tipping culture, remains during recessions or inflation. And it's even more so important because a lot of people who work in the service industry, when we're navigating a recession, are really relying on those tips as part of their income. So let's cover some examples of rules of thumb of how much to tip depending on different types of services. So food delivery services, it's a good idea to tip 20% of the order or a minimum of $5. When it comes to personal care services, for example, your hairdresser, the nail salon, getting a massage, etc., then 15 to 20% of the services as a tip is a good idea. When it comes to furniture or appliance delivery, $10 to $20 per person, depending on how much is being delivered. And let's say you hire a handyman, then tipping them 10 to 15% of the total for a large job or 20% for a small job is a good idea. Again, when it comes to tipping, obviously it is based on your discretion and on your budget. So these are just guidelines, but it is always a good idea to tip for services rendered, keeping in mind that a lot of times those people are earning minimum wage or are really relying on your tips to supplement their income. Scenario number 3, discussing salary. So salary is something that people don't always discuss, and it can be a dicey topic for many. An example of good money etiquette is to hold off asking people that you just meet, how much do you make, right? Nobody wants to answer that question, especially if they don't know you or they don't trust you yet. And that also applies when you go out on a first date. However, as you get to know people, as you get comfortable with perhaps your coworkers, your friends, your date, you can start to have money conversations with them that potentially lead up to that salary topic. So on the personal side, you want to hold off talking about salary until you've actually gotten to know the person well. On the professional side, however, it actually is a good idea for you to have the salary conversation, especially if you are trying to get into a new industry or niche, or you're trying to ensure that you're getting paid what you are worth at your current position. And this means asking people in the industry what they currently earn politely, right? And tactfully, asking your coworkers, your friends what they currently earn, again, politely and tactfully, so that you can use this information to gauge if perhaps you can leverage what you now know to negotiate a raise, or use it as a negotiating strategy when you go into a job interview or accept a job for a new position. By the way, if you are enjoying this video, I'd love for you to hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, tell your best girlfriends about Clever Girl Finance, and then stop by clevergirlfinance.com. Our blog gets updated every single day, and we have over 30 plus completely free courses for you to check out. You can follow us on Instagram at Clever Girl Finance, and I would love for you to check out the Clever Girls Know podcast that I host with a new guest every single week and is available to listen everywhere you tune into your podcast episodes. Okay, let's get back to the video. Scenario number 4, asking for or borrowing money. So this is a situation where you may find that you need to borrow money from someone, a friend, a family member, and the key here is to be discreet about it. You do not want to put your friend or family member in a difficult situation by asking them to loan you money in a group of people where they don't have the opportunity to tell you how they feel, to say no, or to think through how much they can actually afford to loan you. So you don't want to put them on the spot. Instead, you want to be discreet about asking. You also want to be sure that when you ask someone to loan you money, that you have a repayment plan already in place that you can present to them of exactly how and by when you're going to pay them back this money you're asking them to loan you. And this is just simple, good money etiquette. Keep in mind that sometimes when you borrow money from someone, friends or family, it may impact your relationship. They may start to be very watchful of how you spend your money, where you go, what you buy until you actually pay them back. So you want to be mindful of exactly who you're asking for money and understand that it may or may not impact your relationship with them. Scenario number 5, loaning or giving money to friends or family. So I'm of the opinion that if you cannot afford to lose it, don't loan it. And when it comes to friends or family, you want to just give them the money you can afford to give them as a gift without any expectation of getting it back. I think this is just the easiest way to go because so many relationships have been destroyed. There have been so many fights because of, someone loaning money and expecting it back and not getting it back. And then there becomes this whole drama. So when it comes to loaning money to friends and family, unless you can afford to give it as a gift, my opinion is not to do it at all. You can share your thoughts in the comments, but that's just what I think personally, unless you can afford to give it as a gift, as I keep saying. And it might be that they ask you to loan them X amount, where you're like, you know what, I only have Y, and you know what, I'm going to give it to you and don't worry about it. However, if you find yourself in the position where, you know what, I want to loan money to my friend or family, then it's okay for you to have terms around it, right? You can tell them when you want the money back. You can have an actual legal contractual obligation put in place. You can structure it so that it's actually like, a formal bank loan where they have to pay you back and there's legal obligations to it. However, again, keep in mind that money sometimes impacts relationships, and the fact that you have a contractual agreement in place or want to have one might offend a friend or family member. So going back to what I said earlier, it's better to just gift it so that there's no conflict. Scenario number 6, communicating with people who have different money philosophies than you. So, a general guideline for money matters is not to force your money beliefs on other people, and also not to let other people force their money beliefs on you. This is just being polite, and it's good money etiquette. Sometimes it's easy for us to get caught up in our own money philosophies, what we believe about money, how we believe people should spend their money, what they should spend it on. But that's not always the right approach, and somebody else might not agree with you at all. And also, sometimes we may be on a certain level of our financial journey. We may have come to certain realizations of, wanting to save, wanting to pay off debt, where other people in your life may not have gotten there yet. And so you want to be tactful and mindful about how you approach them with your money philosophies so they don't feel like you're judging them or they are being shamed. And so, if there are certain issues where you want people to really understand your money philosophy, consider using non judgmental language. Consider sharing useful resources and tools that may help them see your own perspective about a particular money topic. But again, when it comes to different money philosophies, how people should spend their money, what they should spend it on, you're obviously going to do what works for you and being able to achieve your own financial goals, but you can't force anybody to see your perspective. So politely share what you know, share tools, share resources, and just, leave it as is. And then scenario number 7, dealing with money in a serious relationship or a marriage. So once it is clear that your relationship is becoming serious or you are already in a serious relationship, you both need to have the money conversation. And not communicating about money can cause a lot of issues. It can cause resentment, it can cause distrust. And as you may already know, 50% of marriages end in divorce. And the number one reason is financial matters. So you really want to communicate and have a conversation, not a fight, about money with your partner. And partners and spouses, it's really important that you both know the key money details when it comes to savings, debt, financial goals, financial obligations, just so that you are both on the same page. So here are some questions that you may want to consider addressing or asking with your partner, again, in a conversation, not a fight. And you don't need to have this conversation. You don't need to have to ask all these questions in one sitting. You can ask them at different periods of time, but this is just information that it's good for both of you to know about each other. So questions to discuss with your partner. Do you have student loan debt or other debts? How much money do you make? Are you planning to continue in your current job or career? Do you want to go back to school? What are your main financial goals? Do we plan to have children? Will one of us be a stay-at-home parent? How will we split or manage the household expenses? And etc. So once you guys have gotten open and honest about your different financial details, then you can both work jointly to determine how you're going to pay your bills, who is going to be responsible for what bills, how you're going to save jointly, separately, whatever works best for you as a unit, as a couple. You also want to make sure you have the conversation about big goals like buying a house, moving a city, expanding your family, just so that you guys are on the same page, especially when it comes to financial matters. So there are many other situations, scenarios outside of the one that I covered where money etiquette plays a main role, is a factor. But the key to every money situation is being able to communicate effectively so that there is no confusion. Whether it is splitting the bill, whether it's talking about money in a serious relationship, whether it's talking about salary, whatever it might be, communicating, being respectful, being polite, not forcing your philosophies, it's what's going to allow you to exhibit good money etiquette. So have you had to navigate a difficult situation around money, with a partner, with a friend? And how did you exhibit money etiquette? I would love to know. Share in the comments below. I hope you guys have enjoyed watching this video and you have found it helpful. If you have, please hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, stop by clevergirlfinance.com. Check out our completely free courses. We have over 30 of them, and I would love for you to tune in to the Clever Girls Know podcast. There is a new episode every week with myself and a brand new guest. Thank you so much for being here, and I will talk to you soon.